Hey guys, so in this video, I'm going to be walking through lending on Sui, particularly with Sui Lend. Lending is one of the major applications in DeFi. Of course, Sui Lend is the leading lending platform on Sui, and so you're going to learn how to lend, borrow, and all of the other stuff that you might need to learn as a beginner. So, first things first is that the entire idea of lending in crypto as it stands is over collateralized lending. And what I mean by that is this: you have more, right? You collateralize more than what you want to borrow. And so we're not able to now use that as your foot in the game to hold you accountable to pay back your debt. Right. So that's pretty much how lending currently works in crypto. There is no under-collateralized lending at the moment. But more so, what that means is that, say for example, I want to borrow $10 in USDC. I have to deposit collateral that could be Sui, that's up to $15, depending on the LTV. So that's pretty much how it works. Now, what is LTV? Something that you also need to know. Open LTV ratio is a ratio that determines the borrowing power of a provided asset. When opening a new borrow position, basically means that okay, I deposit $10 in USDC. How much can I borrow as out of this my collateral, right? For example, if I say that I can borrow some 7%, it basically means that I can borrow some 7% of my entire position on USDC. And then if you see that the LTV for CWBTC is 6%, then if I deposit $100 of this, I can only borrow $70 out of it back. So that's pretty much what that means. It's also something to pay attention to. Then we have deposit APR, is how much you're getting paid to deposit that amount. So for USDC, it's currently 4.75, right, in total. Then we also have the borrow API, which is how much you're going to be getting, how much you're going to pay in interest to basically borrow the money. So that's pretty much it. You can easily click on this to see that more, right? So interest is this, rewards industry is this, so borrow API is this. So that's pretty much what you need to know. Now, let's borrow and like basically get our hands dirty. So first things first, you want to deposit your collateral. And so let's say my collateral happens to be Sui. Let's deposit some Sui. So let's deposit 4 Sui, just for the example. Let's deposit 4 Sui for the example, and then deposit 4 Sui. That's like $6.73. And I'll approve that. And I deposit 4 Sui, that's $6.73. Now here's the next thing you need to know. If you come here, the LTV for Sui is 70%, which basically means I can borrow 70% of the $6.73. So let's quickly borrow the maximum and see what that looks like. So I actually have some other assets, right? Oh yeah, I have USDC. So let's not borrow USDC. For this example, let's borrow Sui USDC. Now the reason why this is more is because I have some USDT already. So let me actually just withdraw the USDC so you can actually see the what LTV really is. Just like withdraw that, and that also serves as an example for withdrawing your length coins. So this is pretty much how you withdraw. You just basically go to withdraw and then enter how much you want to withdraw, and then you can withdraw your money. You can withdraw your collateral back. So yeah, there's that. So now let's see. If you want to borrow, if you see that I can now borrow 60%, right? The LTV was how much? 70%, right? So this is 70% of the Sui position. So that's much how much I can now borrow. They also know about the position, the borrow APR, my utilization, which is basically like, oh, how much of your position are you utilizing here? How much of your account are you utilizing here? So currently 63. If I borrow 3 USDC, then the borrow fee, if there's any fee for me to borrow. You can also see more parameters. So don't go through that to see more parameters if you want. But let's just borrow that money. So I approve that, and I've borrowed 3 USDC. Now you can always repay your loan whenever you want to. Just click on repay and then repay your loan. We also need to talk about something else, which is liquidation. What happens if you don't pay your debt, right? So, of course, you keep accruing the interest on your collateral, and you keep accruing the interest you're supposed to pay on the loan. And once that reaches the liquidation threshold, which is basically how much your borrows is aligning with how much you deposited, then your position will be closed down. What that means is that the borrow you just took, also your collateral will be sold to finance the borrowing you just did. So that's pretty much how it works. What's basically going on here is that, like, say for example, let's use USDC and USDT for example. You deposited $10,000 in USDC, and then you borrowed $9,000 into USDT. Magically, so USDT now actually increases in price. So $10,000 here is now around like $9,950 here. Then they have to sell your USDC to pay back this, and that's what it means to get liquidated. So you don't want to get liquidated. You want to maintain a healthy account balance, which is why I like this loading bar here that tells you where you're actually at with your lending. So yeah, that's pretty much how to lend and borrow and how to pay your loans back, and also talk about the metrics that you need to pay attention to. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, feel free to leave into the comments, and I'll attend to that. But for now, thank you. See you in the next tutorial where we're talking about looping, which is one of the strategies that you use to make money in lending.